Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. We are so excited that it is the first show of 2022. Thank you so much for joining us live once again. And those of you that are watching the replay, hello and welcome. I'm the Lady Jaclyn, and I am joined by my fabulous co-host, Dear James. And every Wednesday, we do a live collective energy update where we look at intuitive guidance and we look at human design and we kind of figure out what is going on in the energy. And then we also take your questions live. Today, I'm so super excited because it's the new beginning of 2022. James, how are you this morning?
I'm wonderful. Thank you, Jaclyn. I'm so excited to see you, to be with you. Here we are kicking off 2022 and beyond is the way I'm calling it because it marks a significant change in the past, the present, future, and the future. So excited to be here with everyone and to be kicking off 2022 and beyond. This is exciting, Jaclyn.
It is. And for those of you that are joining live, and even if you are watching on the replay, then just give us a comment. Let us know that you are here. Let us know where you're tuning in from. It's always nice to connect with you in that way. That is the only way we can actually see that you are with us, is if you leave a comment in the comment section below. So just let us know, say hello, Happy New Year, and let us know where you are streaming in from. And then also just a reminder, we are streaming live on both YouTube, on my own, the Lady Jaclyn YouTube, on Dear James's YouTube. We're also live on Facebook on both of our pages, and then also on Dear James's Twitter. So where you find us, we say hello, Happy New Year, and we cannot wait to dive in to the energy today because it is I cannot wait, James, for what you have in store. But I just know, like, the energy on my end, I'm like, okay, this makes sense because I'm living it at the moment.
Absolutely. There's such a funny piece of. I sat down this morning, as I always do before the show, and I listened. I listened to the Unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, and I said, okay, and I'm looking at the dates. We always talk about Jaclyn, how, and certainly from, human design and the gates and everything, the numbers, how numbers speak to us, and, really everything speaks to us. If they're all signs, they're all pieces of synchronicity. And so it was really quite interesting to see what they said and then to look it up and because that's we don't know everything, right? I mean, it's always about, we know little, Spirit, Source, Symphony knows all. And so it's so amazing when they give you a piece or a strand, a thread, and then you go look it up and you're like, really, are you kidding me with this? Because it's just so amazing. So I love that we're there's a lot here. There's a lot here for the new year. So, and good morning, Lori, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you might be. Lori, happy New Year from Illinois. You've got one, Jaclyn.
Ruak, yes, hello, Ruak. We got Happy New Year. Wish you both a blessed year. Right back at you. I think we were speaking yesterday, James, and we were saying double, double, double. We're calling it a double whammy. Hey, this year is going to be exciting, and we're definitely kicking it off with some big energy. Do you want to kick it off?
Sure. So we're gonna go read through. So I'm gonna take it a little bit slow, Jaclyn, because there's a lot here, and I don't want to mangle it, so to speak. But so for everyone listening, yes, this is the new year, but it's really a new epic. It's a new era. It's a new way of being. And so there's a lot more here than just a simple ending of a year and a beginning of a new year, and these types of things. And so the first thing they said to me was open access is the phrase I heard, open access. And then it was, kind of that dot, 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 that pause to open access to the new. And then I heard, and this was just so great, I'm going to bring it up on screen for everybody, but I heard open sesame. And of course, it instantly conjures up magic and a show and everything. So I'm just going to read some of this because they said, in essence, just bringing this down. Sorry, bear with me for a second. Thank you. So, open sesame, in French, sesame, ouvre toi, and it means open yourself. So here the Spirit, Source, and Symphony is saying to us at the very beginning of 2022, open access to the new, open sesame. And it literally in French means open yourself. And then it says in Arabic, open sesame is a magical phrase in the story of Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves, in Antoine Galland's version of 1001 Nights. And that story, that fable, is about a secret cave holding hidden treasure. So hold that thought for the second, that you are the hidden cave, and within you is a hidden treasure. And you're talking, and the universe is saying to you, open access to the new, open sesame. So you're meant to open this hidden treasure that's within. And then they talked about the fact that open sesame is also classified as a motif, and it means mountain opens to magic formula. Now that for me, Jaclyn, instantly gives me goosebumps, because I'm like, it's in essence what they're saying is open to the magic of source, open to the magic of the universe, open to the magic within you, which denotes it's already there. It's not outside of you. It's within you. It's within us. So there's this piece, and then this is really amazing on this piece. They said sesame is a reduplication of the Hebrew sem, which is the name God, or a Kabbalistic word representing the Talmudic Shem, Shemaim. It's the name of heaven. So here we're talking about opening God, opening heaven. Heaven within, heaven on earth, promised land. Jaclyn and I were just talking about this, and let's, Jaclyn, before I go on, we're going to come back together here. We were just talking about this yesterday, which is what's really quite extraordinary, is this whole open sesame, and realizing that sesame literally is depicting these hidden treasures, God, heaven on earth, and this transition that we're all in, that we're all looking for, that transmutes us, that is going to change us in a way that we've never experienced before.
You know what I absolutely love? Because the fact that you literally start with open, and in my notes, I literally, because we are in the gate 54, and with in the sun, and then the earth is in the gate 53, and the 54 is all about opening up your heart, so that you can actually, I want to say, awaken to the true essence of ambition, right? So that you kind of move away from the greed, the fear, the control, that shadow side, and actually then embody I literally wrote it down. I actually want to, it's keeping your heart open without getting stuck or feeling lost in the disappointment, because there's that lower vibration of the disappointment. And we were literally having the conversation last night for me, morning for you, yesterday, where we were both like, listen, what's happening? Like, it's the beginning of the year. We feel like a little bit of limbo at the moment. And instead of getting stuck in that disappointment that things are maybe not progressing fast enough that we want to control, right? We're taking a step back and realizing and remembering that we're going through the process, and the process is needed in order to really truly step into, what you're talking about,
right,
which is the open sesame, which is the heaven on earth, which is the divine, the source, the magic, the higher power, the essence, the goosebumps, literally goosebumps.
Exactly. And for everybody listening, this isn't like airy-fairy, wishful thinking and everything. What we literally talk about, and what the universe is talking about here for you, and Jaclyn and I talk about this, and we come about this from a sense of science and spirituality. So it's the merging of the two. They are not incongruent. They support one another. It's yin yang. It's science and spirituality reinforce one another. They explain one another. They assist one another. And So literally, we are, as we spoke, Jaclyn and I talked briefly yesterday, and we're literally in what's considered the storm. We're just at the piece. We're in that middle piece, really close to the gate, really close to the precipice of this epic change. And so, yes, we're feeling frustrated. We're excited. You can probably feel this excitement. And again, this far surpasses like, oh, it's a new year, and thereby, I've got these ideas and this energy, and I want to. It's far more than that. It's like this is that. There's a whole new way. There's a whole new world, and we're just at the. We're right in that storm of the middle part. But we're not in the middle anymore. It's just that it's the middle that references between two worlds, and so you can see what they're saying is open sesame. Well, that's the door that is protecting the cave that's within a mountain that holds hidden treasure. And we're at the door. We're at the door. We're not way back, trying to get to the door, or we're at the door. And they're saying, open sesame. And I'm like, ooh, this is exciting. All right, we're going to continue. Natalie, wishing you both a prosperous 22. Right back at you, Natalie. Jaclyn.
And then Haley also says Happy New Year. Linda is with us from Norway. Happy New Year. Then Haley agrees. She says, oh, she loves this, Dear James. Like, that was absolutely incredible to start off with. And then we have Nikki. Nikki is afternoon. Hello, Nikki. This speaks to me, open to the magic around and within. Love it, with the heart emojis. And then Kelly is joining us from Tennessee. Hello. Thank you guys so much for joining us live today. As you can hear, we've already kickstart with some really goosebump moments. Hey.
Right. It really is the magic of the universe. And I keep saying that to people as I was wishing them a happy new year and everything. I kept saying, or their birthday or something. And Jaclyn, I kept saying to everyone, may the magic, awe, and wonder of the new year of the new year and beyond. And so remember that the magic, awe, and wonder, it's within, and it's all around us, and it's certainly what's on offer, because this is magic. This is hidden treasure. It's magic that's going to come. It's going to permeate. The way they're saying it to me, it's going to permeate everything. So this is an exciting piece. I'm going to move into the second piece, which is the numbers. It's January 5th, 2022. And January is the first month, so it's a 1. So it denotes new beginnings. And then we look at the second piece, which is 5. Today's the 5th, and 5 represents change. And it's neither positive or negative. Everything is divine and neutral. So 5 just represents change. So we have new beginnings, we have change. And then I noticed 2022, and it's such a powerful, it just makes me smile every single time. But I looked at it, I broke it down. It was like 2022. And so hexagram 20 in the I Ching is about overview, and it speaks to contemplation, that we're to, and it's also associated with a tower. So hexagram 20 with this overview, this contemplation, and this tower. And the tower in the tarot is slightly different, but we're going to merge the two a little bit. So the tower means that you are in the tower. So imagine that you're at the top of a tower and you're looking out. So you have a greater overview. You have a greater perspective of what's happening, of what's taking place. And simultaneously, though, with that overview, you need to go within to have greater contemplation, to have, a greater review, a greater understanding of what you're seeing, of what you're experiencing. So you have that. Now, the Tower card is the 16th card in the tarot in the major arcana. And the tower, you see on the image of that in tarot, you see lightning striking the tower. People are falling out of the tower. There's smoke rising from the top. The tower in the tarot can represent, again, change. And it can be that you're meant to, and it's not negative, it typically has a shock and awe type, Jaclyn, as we talked about, shock and awe with the Tower card. But what they were saying here, because it's the hexagram 20, is they were saying greater visibility, and that the tower, as it represents with the tarot, represents renewal. So the tower, when something is broken down to be rebuilt, or the lightning strikes it, because remember, shock and awe can be positive. It can be some life-changing event that changes your life in an instant. And all of a sudden, it's this wonderful, powerful, empowering moment. It's a power tower. It's a positive tower moment. It's not a negative.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were denoting that. And what comes after the tower in the tarot? It's the star card. It's 17. Follow, be led in the hexagram. But it's the star card, and it's about renewal. She's pouring the soma into the water and into the earth, heaven and earth. And she's bringing this life force, the purity, the renewal of your life force. So that's there. And then 2020, or so that's 2022, the 22 piece, hexagram 22 is about adornment. It's about grace and beauty. And they talk about the fact that it's the morning light on the lake. It's not high noon. It's that subtle grace and beauty. And what the unseen was saying is to realize that that is what we are, that is what we will encounter. However, it's also the way to be. Act with grace and beauty. Act with grace and ease. As you move through your day, as you encounter others, adorn them with grace and beauty. Adorn yourself with grace and beauty. Because this is going to be a theme. I mean, you can see open sesame, magic, this magic within, the hidden treasures, this greater overview of things. You're going to have a greater expanded consciousness, a greater understanding of things. And then the how, is grace and beauty. And lastly, they said, awaken to the power within. And then they said, dream state, alternate reality, wormhole. And what I love about wormhole is that a wormhole, if you look up the definition, it says a wormhole is a theoretical passage through space-time that could create shortcuts for long journeys across the universe. So this wormhole connects 2 points. It connects 2 points in our reality. It connects 2 points in time, space. So again, otherworldly aspects at play here that say you can be, let's say that you're in your meditation, you can be transported to an alternate reality, a different, where you're able to have a higher overview, a higher contemplation of yourself, of your existence, and how you then bring that into the practical and manifest and put that forward, embody that. So these are the aspects. They're pretty big aspects for the overview of 2022. And last but not least, they had me draw the ichthus sign, which is the symbol of Pisces. It's associated with Master Jesus. It's the fish symbol. And what's so amazing about that? And then they showed me the actual image of the 2 fish for Pisces. And they are bound together, going in opposite directions. And they represent like yin yang, masculine, feminine, these dualities, if you will. And Pisces is the end of the zodiac, and we begin anew, Jaclyn, with Aries. And so it's a very interesting thing where you can see here the end of something, the end of this era. We have been in the Piscean era. We are moving, or have moved, into the Aquarian era. And so as you see this letting go, patriarchal, Piscean, patriarchal rule, this duality, these kind of like polar opposites going in separate directions. And then here comes, and the star card is represented by Aquarius. And so it's this Aquarian energy, which is matriarchal, which is all about the harmonizing of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. So if you're a woman and you're really masculine, we talked about this in one of the shows prior, when if you're a feminine, and you're a woman and you have a heavier masculine attributes, you're going to come into more of your femininity, your softness. Likewise, if you're a man and you're more masculine or more feminine, its opposite is going to rise in you. You're going to equalize, harmonize. So there's some real beauties, not to mention just the change of the delineation that we are changing from Piscean to Aquarian, from patriarchal to matriarchal. We're going to have, and that really denotes a higher overview, grace and beauty, magic. The magic returns. The magic returns. That's what they're saying.
Love it. And I'm gonna break it down because it actually ties so beautifully with what I had prepared for today with the gate 54 and the gate 53 and this beautiful dance and this Capricorn energy, because we're in January, right? So we started January. So the first thing that I want to touch on is your play on that masculine and feminine. And we can see with the gate 54 being the achiever, the ambition, right? That's a very masculine energy. But then there's polarity in the energy, because success is not just how much you do or how much you can go get, it's also in how much you can actually take a step back, open up and receive. And that's the feminine energy. So it's this beautiful dance between I have the ambition and my heart is open to the joy, to the trust, to the love, to the aspiration, to the expansion, while still taking action, which is the masculine. So it's a play on both, which is so beautiful. And this is literally what we can see starting the new year, starting January, with both this masculine and feminine energy of I have ambition, I want to get going, these are the things that I maybe want to do in this month, in this year. And then also kind of taking a step back and going, is my heart open enough? Am I trusting enough? Am I surrendering to the expansion, to the love, to the grace that you mentioned? What did you mention? I literally wrote it down.
Grace and beauty.
Grace and beauty. There we go. So it's literally opening up your heart and your energy to grace and beauty. And beauty can also not necessarily look like the aesthetic beauty, but the beauty of the synchronicity of life, right? The plays of how everything just works out for you. So the next thing that I want to jump into, because me being me, the practical person, I almost want to say a bit of the devil advocate, I kind of bring it home and I go, okay, this sounds great, James, but what happens if you're overwhelmed by the disappointment? And this is the conversation we had yesterday. Overwhelmed by, we've had 2 very difficult years. Maybe you've had a lot more difficult years. Maybe there's been the energy of disappointment, because remember, things have been out of our control. Maybe even now, like with holidays, maybe the holiday that you wanted to take didn't actually manifest. Maybe the job that you wanted to start, maybe the side thing that you thought would kick off sooner, it didn't go. So look at the disappointment, and instead of getting stuck in that disappointment, instead of getting lost in trying to understand why in the moment, that's where that feminine, take a step back in trust and knowing that the disappointment that you perceive as a disappointment right now is actually part of the puzzle to the bigger picture of the direction of where you're headed, right? Because everything is working out for you. So it's looking at what you're perceiving as being a disappointment right now. And I know for me, yesterday and a little bit of this morning as well, I was grappling with like the uncertainty, like disappointment that it's not moving fast enough. And then I realized, you know what, instead of trying to control what's already happening, what's already playing out, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to trust. I'm going to believe that the work that I've done is now, it's bearing fruit, because the 54 is also asking you, what seeds are you sowing? What seeds have you been sowing? And what seeds are you going to sow for this year, right? So it's looking at, where is your mindset at? What thoughts are you thinking? Are you embracing life from a different aspect, a different change in perspective? James, you spoke about this so beautifully last year, which was actually last week, where you were like, sometimes it's going to feel different. You're going to look at something and it's going to be the same, but it's going to look and feel different to you. And this is what we're inviting you to do as we take on January, is re-look at the way you reframe. So re-look and reframe the way you look at disappointment, and understand that maybe you don't understand why things are happening the way that they are right now, but it's maybe because, like we started the show with, we don't know everything. And thank goodness we don't know everything, because I think we would get overwhelmed if we had to see the true, real big picture. So it's really with this 54 and the ambition, because a lot of, especially because I mean, it's like a fitting energy. It's starting January. We've got ambition. We want to get things going. We want to be the achievers. We want to manifest. We want to set intentions. We want to set goals, right? It's transcending, it's growing through, it's moving through the fear, the attachment, the control, the greed that comes with that do, ambition, go getter, and taking a step back into expansion, in trust, love, into the aspiration, into the receiving, right? Opening up your heart. Opening up your heart to kind of notice that the disappointment that you're going through now, or the disappointment that you may perceive in your life right now, is actually going to be your biggest opportunity for growth and transformation. I look at my own life, it's been like that. People, you can journal out and you can say what you want to change, and there would not be one thing that I would change in my life, because every single thing, even though seemingly at the situation of when it happened, it felt like the worst thing ever, every single thing happens for a reason, but sometimes you can only see it when you look back. So as you start off January with this ambitious energy, and the energy in Capricorn, it's also looking at the flexibility. Like, how flexible are you to the change that James was speaking about? How able are you to change your perspective and look at, things that are happening, maybe not quick enough, or things that you want to kind of control, and take a step back and trust and know that, hang on, I am capable, I am worthy, I know that I deserve X, Y, Z, the desires that you're looking for, and take a leap of faith every single moment in that balance between the ambition and the receiving, the openness and the love and the expansion. It makes sense.
Absolutely. And what's so, again, the brilliance of the synchronicity of all of this, Jaclyn, is so hexagram 54. So you're talking about gate 54 and this ambition and everything. Hexagram 54 speaks to, it's about Mary and Maiden. And it literally is about the story of the ancient Chinese dynasty. And the eldest daughter, there's two warring factions. And of course, you either fought or you married to resolve. And so the one king decides to send his eldest daughter to marry with the prince of the other warring faction. And they say to the youngest daughter, get in the cart. Just get in the cart. And she says, but where am I going? And so we're talking to this piece about 54, about ambition and about how you achieve and how are you manifesting, or is this, practical versus airy-fairy, all these things. But hexagram 54 and ambition speaks to the fact that we don't always know the unseen. So the unseen is continually guiding us. It is your true north. It is your soul source connection. And so here's this beautiful thing about the young maiden, the youngest princess, being told to get in the cart. She has no idea where she's going. She has no idea what's happening to her, in that sense, to her. Everything's for you, but to her. And all of a sudden, off she goes. And now, of course, she's in the other camp, let's say. She's in the other side of the other dynasty. Long story short, the eldest daughter is barren. And so the youngest daughter, unbeknownst to her, ends up becoming the queen that marries and bears the children of the next dynasty, the next 2 and 3 and 4 generations of the dynasty. So there are times in this, the beauty of that synchronicity, Jaclyn, is don't, hold your reins, hold the steering wheel, hold the rein, Jesus take the wheel. It's that hold the reins lightly. The practicality says for us, we all, it's innate in us to have ambition, to go after what we want. Here's this whole new year. We're fired up. We're ready. We want things to move and change. And yet the moral of the story is there's a plan, there's a plan, our plan, and then the plan.
The plan. Mm-hmm.
And so just, again, be practical as Jaclyn's talking about. Absolutely go forth and every day do what you know to do. And just hold the reins, hold the wheel loosely so as to know and be guided, because the unseen is going to move us. The unseen is going to, you think, oh, what is that idiom, life happens while you're planning. Mm-hmm. That's a perfect narrative or description of what what I'm receiving with this, with these two tying together, the energy of 54, gate 54, and then hexagram 54, which is, because imagine the ambition of the unseen. Your soul source always wants more for us than we ever think to give ourselves. And that's saying a lot, because I'm pretty sure there's many people who are like, I think pretty highly of myself. You know what I mean? Like they may have that kind of, chutzpah and energy and what is it? Life force. And yet it still would never compare to what Spirit Source Symphony, the unseen, wants for you, wants for us. And so make space for the ambition of the universe. Because, and you and I, Jaclyn, we kind of talked about that. We can say, here's this, this, and this, and yet we have a knowing of something far greater, far more. We just have to have our hands loose enough to let it occur. Let it permeate us, let it come to us. We have a lot of comments, Jaclyn.
Haley says, "Oh yes, loving the thought of that balance." And then she also says, "I'm constantly reminding myself to remember to smell the roses, to pay attention to what is happening and understand and appreciate the journey." And then Laurie also says, "Yes, I'm learning to take a step back and trust the universe when things aren't moving fast enough or happening. I think they should, or the way I think they should." Listen, like, don't we all have that? I'm like having a giggle because I'm just like, yo, Laurie, like Haley, you're speaking to me. Like, we're speaking to us, because we literally had that conversation yesterday when we like, we're about to board the train, but the train's not going. Like, we're on the platform. Can universe, can we make this happen now? Can we depart? So I think the biggest thing as well is part of the human experience is that trust and patience. And I know for myself, the one thing I figured out through human design actually as well, starting to understand myself a whole lot more and giving words to the behavior and the reason I was doing certain things and thinking certain things, right? And understanding that there's a huge amount of patience, and patience comes with trust and the knowing of self. So it's knowing what you're capable of. And you spoke to this truly beautifully when you kind of said, the universe, it's the universe's ambition. It like when you said it gave me goosebumps. It motivated me, because I was like, wow, like I'm actually not in control, and I don't have to be in control. That there's something that's bigger out there, and all I have to do is allow it to guide me. So you've got to allow yourself to see your next best step. And what's so beautiful is there's so many tools that allow you to do that. I mean, human design, James with his intuitive guidance, it's enabling you to kind of understand what is holding you back from truly opening up your heart, truly embracing this knowing that you deserve so much more than you can even imagine right now. And that should encourage you as well. Like, even if you're a person that's like, I just want this, I just want a good job, I just want a steady paycheck, I want my family to be healthy. The universe wants more, like triple that, expand that. Like, there's so much more waiting for you that's already there, that you don't have to do anything besides be yourself and trust the process, and then follow along, taking action within the process, and everything will unfold, which is so beautiful. And I think it's so fitting for the start of January.
Yes, and there's a beauty. And don't forget, we're taking your questions live as well through the broadcast today. And so if you have questions, if you want specific guidance on something, please put them in the comments and we will address them. Just to tag on to that, Jaclyn, is the piece that, sit with yourself. So ask yourself, what is it that my soul said it wanted to do or experience or be? Because as Jaclyn just said, you might say, oh, I'd be happy with just this or just that, or, whatever. But also your soul knows. So like the universe knows, they see all, they know all. The soul can never mislead you. Never. It's impossible. Now the ego, the mind, the personality, have fun. Oh, it will negotiate, it will lie, steal, cheat, it'll hide in the closet, it will do whatever it takes to not do something or evade something or tell yourself something, yabba dabba dabba. Okay, but the soul. So ask, sit with yourself and say, what is it that I truly, truly, truly want or know?
Mm.
And then write it down, write that down, and then look at it and say, okay, now, because you'll instantly know why it's not possible, why you can't have it, how it's not going to work. See, that's the lesser energy. It's the easiest. It's the easiest. And a lot of people stop there. The flip side of that is, okay, got it. I can feel it. I've always wanted, God, I always, and I can, here's why I told myself I couldn't have it, or here's what's in my way, or, okay, I'm just going to put that aside. Now show me how. What's my next step? What do I do? This is where the practical comes in with the spiritual. This is where you're literally able to say, oh, this is possible. You know, they're giving me Wallace D. Wattles. He wrote these. It's a 3-part book, and he said one of the things is great things in small ways, and what that means is and the example is that this gentleman is a janitor, but he wants to be a doctor, and his point is, you as the janitor, you right where you are. What's the next step? What's the next thing you can do? So small acts in great ways is what it's called. Small acts in great ways. And he's like, what's the small act? What's the next step that you can take to manifest? And ultimately, the janitor, in his story, the janitor becomes the doctor. Against, quote, in a sense, against all odds. But his point is, it's not against all odds. You're doing small acts in great ways, because they effectuate a great change in you. So, moral of the story, follow your dreams. They are possible. The universe is there in concert with you. It will guide you. It may show up in a way that you didn't expect. It may show up in a way that that is, how do I want to say, like in concert with, or, because, you've always wanted to be a performer or a singer performer, but actually you're really an incredible lyricist songwriter. So in essence, you experience the performing and all of that through being the lyricist and the songwriter and so forth. It comes in a different way, but you experience the dream nonetheless. That's what's on offer, and so much more. So I think we have a question here, Jaclyn. Haley, what you said, or maybe it's a statement, what you said about what the universe wants for us just gave me shivers down my spine. Exactly. Exactly. Because they always, and this is true, Jaclyn, you and I have talked about this. We'll sit there and you'll procrastinate, me becoming Dear James. I kept pushing it back. No, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. No. And then I finally did it. And I literally said to myself, I love this so much. What were you waiting for? Like, why did you wait so long? And because I couldn't imagine doing something, I loved what I did before, and yet it pales in comparison to this. And it's that same thing. It's because they want for us, our soul wants for us more than we would ever give ourselves.
So I have a practical story actually to share. That goes exactly with what you're saying, where the mind is scientifically there to keep us safe, right? So we're always going to think thoughts, or we're always going to focus on things that maybe don't necessarily matter in the moment. And especially in the beginning of the year, what I tend to find with my clients, with people that I speak to, when I see it on social posts as well, is that everyone gets stuck in this creating these massive goals, and they're so focused on what they want to achieve in the next year, the next 3 years, the next 5 years, that they get overly overwhelmed or overly consumed by the bigger picture, and then they kind of find it tricky or difficult to take the next step, like take a step to actually head in that direction because they're so focused on the big, right? And practically 2 days ago, I started cycling again after all of my injuries. I'm back on the bike, and I went for a ride with a friend of mine, and it was literally just going to be, I knew it was going to be a long, very casual, easy ride, maybe 1 or 2 hills. So it was definitely long. It was actually the longest ride I've done to date, 120 kilometers. We were 6 hours on the bike, and we did 4 hills. And the second hill actually we did was in Cape Town. It's Oakopsevak. So if you understand what that looks like, but just to give you kind of a perspective, the first 2 hills we were in elevation of about nearly close to 800 meters, right, in elevation of climbing. And that hill, in order to take on that hill and that gradient, what I did was we just took a breath because we had a bit of a stop just before we did the climb. We took a breath, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to think about anything other than I'm just going to cycle. I'm just going to get myself up to the top. And when it really got difficult, in order to quiet my mind, because the mind straight away kicks into, what am I doing? It's hot. I don't have water. My legs are paining. My back is sore. The sunburn. Like, I was literally thinking of 500 things that was not helping the situation, right? Or overthinking the fact that, oh my good gracious, look how far we still have to go. I put my head down and I just count to 7. And every 1, 2 was my movement of my legs, and I counted to 7. Do you know how many times I counted to 7 going up that one hill? I was literally just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, and I was literally, that's all I was doing. And then I realized something so genius, that by me focusing my mind on counting to 7, I was thinking nothing else. Nothing. There was nothing that was coming to mind. I was able to breathe. My body was regulating. My back was, yes, it was sore, but I was breathing into like getting, that feeling of comfort back, because all I was doing was just focusing on 1, 2, 7. Now, my friend actually asked me, he's like, why 7? And I was like, you know what? That was the first thing that came to mind, because 10 just seemed too far. And that is exactly it. It's like, we're so focused on, good gracious, we got to climb this mountain. And you started with that mountain, that opening of that mountain, to receive the treasures. We're all on this mountain. We're all doing this journey. We're all doing a climb. We're so focused on the bigger picture. We're so focused on being here now, instead of actually going, hold on, let's just focus on your next 10 steps. Or in my case, next 7. But next 10 steps. What is your next 10 steps? Whether it be I'm making up my bed, I'm brushing my teeth, I'm putting music on, I'm doing a little dance, I'm eating healthier than I did yesterday, I'm phoning a friend, I'm journaling out, I'm smiling, I'm greeting someone. Though, like, that's already 9. That's 9. And those steps literally are getting you closer to where you're wanting to be. So as you take on January, I think we're all reminded, it's great to put the intention out there. It's great to focus on goals. It's great to, I'm going to be doing my vision board soon as well. Do a vision board. Just don't get lost in the bigness, and kind of get back to the enjoyment of the present moment and counting those steps. Counting 7, counting 10. Because I can guarantee you, when you're in that moment, that's what really got me through climbing that hill, that mountain. And when I did the next 2 and 3, I was actually like, hold on, I've just climbed this mountain. This mountain is nothing compared to that one. So let's count to 10. And the next one, I literally counted to 10 because the gradient wasn't as steep. And I thought, this is ridiculous. How easy is something, but yet it's so effective, because all I was doing, I was training my mind to be in the present moment, to forget about everything else, where I was, where I'm going, and just be, where am I now? What does my body need from me now? What does my mind need from me now? What does my soul need from me now? And maybe that's what you can also, journal out as you start off January alongside those goals. Great, write those goals down, write those intentions down, but also go, okay, what's my next 10 steps for today? Or what's my next 3 steps that I want to accomplish today? Because I know those 3 steps are going to get me closer to where I want to be. Make sense?
And the word that kept coming to me when you were talking about the 7, the 10, and what you were doing, and the breathing and the focusing, and this is very appropriate, is alignment. You were in alignment. You lasered your focus. So here's where they're talking about hexagram 20, where you're having there in the tower, you have a broader overview, this contemplation. And there was the contemplation aspect. Because then here's this overview. Oh, I'm doing this, how many 6 hours and how many kilometers, 4 inclines, 4 mountains. That's the overview. And then you came within with the contemplation and you said, okay, now I'm going to narrow my focus in to achieve the greatness that I am, to achieve the climb, to achieve the magic formula. The mountain opens to magic formula. You opened to the magic within. 7, it's a biblical, we talk about everything that we talk about. If it has a biblical reference, it's a non-religious statement. It's about spirituality, faith. 7 is a big number. It denotes, 7 biblically is a big number. So it's a very interesting thing that things happen, cycles. When the walls of Jericho fell, they circumvented the walls 7 times. So you can see the power. And what were you, and look at your example, Jaclyn. You were looking for empowerment, power to climb that hill. And you dropped your head and you aligned with the power within. And you said, okay, and it's 7.
Yeah.
Oh, and the next one's 10.
I even asked myself,
Woo-hoo!
I was like, why 7? And then I thought, okay, I can't be thinking about this now. I'm tired. Like, let's just count to 7. And it was literally just because I thought, okay, I'm going to count to 10. Because that, funny enough, a couple of years back when I climbed in Peru, I counted to 10. That's literally how I got up the mountain. Is I counted 10 steps, I breathed for 10 steps. I counted 10 steps, I breathed for. But on a bike, you can't exactly breathe because otherwise you're going to roll backwards. So you gotta keep moving forward. And it's so interesting how you literally just highlighted 7, and I didn't even realize the significance. I thought, okay, well, 7 is obviously, but then also 7, funny enough, is also change. It's about like that spiritual wisdom and change. So yeah, I think it's a beautiful reminder for all of us to really just set the intentions and hone in on the smaller steps that we can take.
Yes, and so just a
question.
Yes, catch up on and the comments. Nikki said, I adore this. A reading training I had today reminded me of a dream I completely forgotten and given up on. And now you're saying exactly what I was saying after I had that training. I can have whatever I want. Exactly. Yes. And she said, I got shivers too, goosebumps at the soul once more for us. And Jennifer here. So Jennifer has a question. Hello to everyone and Happy New Year. I have a question for the Lady Jaclyn. Many things are manifesting for me right now, and I would like to know if you could give me a little help on how to design my next steps. And she's provided her details. I'm going to go through to Lori while you're pulling. Or do you already have it?
No, you can go to Lori, and then I'll.
Okay,
I'll
and we'll come back to Jennifer's question while she's pulling up your chart, Jennifer. And Lori said, "Small steps in great ways, and our soul wants more for us. I love this. I really needed to hear these messages today. Thank you." Thank you. Yeah, this is what there's a theme here, this open sesame, this open the magic within. And we started off the broadcast and said 2022 and beyond. And I keep saying that because it demarks a new era, a new way of being. And this new way of being is open yourself, open yourself, open yourself. Go back to the dreams, go back to the hopes, dreams, and wishes. Go to those, take the necessary steps, tell yourself, because again, they're not outside of you. Your soul already chose all of this. So you're simply aligning. So with Jaclyn's analogy and example, she had already climbed the mountain. She was just realigning. She was already aligning with what she had chosen. And she had chosen to climb the mountain, to have a successful ride, to have that experience. It's already there. You just you realign with it. You align with that because it's yours. It's not about competition anymore. It never was. It's all about you align with your soul's choices. They're already yours. Whatever's meant for you, it's yours. You don't have to compete. It's yours. And then just take the necessary steps to align with that, to effectuate the manifestation of
Mm-hmm.
it, the experience of it. And you keep doing that because your soul's chosen many of these experiences throughout your lifetime. Go ahead, Jaclyn.
It's it's amazing because I just want to add one more thing. Abraham Hicks talks about just by you having contrast, so a contrasting thought of I don't want this, you're launching rockets of what you do want. So the fact that you know what you don't want means that what you do want is already there just by the notion of you knowing what you don't want. So that's exactly the same thing. Is like, instead of, I think we're moving to a new shift and a new paradigm of, instead of
Yes.
creating, like instead of needing to create the thing we want, knowing that the thing we want is already there, and what we're creating is the energy and the frequency that matches up to that thing that is in the 5D reality, that we can bring it into our now reality. And that's the manifestation. So you don't have to think of, how am I going to create the business or the relationship. The relationship that you want is already there. What you're needing to create is the energy, the vibration that matches to the frequency of that business, to bring it into your current reality. And for me, that has been a game changer. Instead of, it releases that control of trying to create the thing, but kind of coming from again, the flexibility and the
Mm.
knowing, the trust that the thing that I want is there. Even though I don't know exactly what it looks like, I know what I don't want, therefore it's there
Right.
already, just by the notion of contrast.
And it's yours. That's so
Yes.
key, is to realize I don't have to compete for something. It's mine.
Mm-hmm.
What's mine is mine. And that is not, in a territorial controlling way aspect. It's from a divine soul aspect. What's yours is yours. Simply, like Jaclyn is saying, align with the creation of the energy that places you in its orbit. Rise up. I always say, rise up and meet the new you. Rise up to claim what's already yours. You don't have to worry about what
Absolutely.
everybody else is doing. You don't have to worry about what the competition's doing. You just do what you know to do, what your soul knows, what you're divinely guided to do, not what your
Mm-hmm.
mind's telling you.
Yeah.
The mind will trip you up. But if
Mm-hmm.
you just sit with the stillness of the knowing of your soul, and you listen and you go, okay, yeah, that seems to be contrary to what everybody else is doing, but I know to do this, and you follow, watch, the path less traveled, right, Jaclyn? It's like that.
Mm-hmm.
You may be the one that forges a new way, and you would never have done that if you were following the crowd. If you were
Mm-hmm.
doing whatever, if you're so engrossed in what everyone else is doing and what the matrix and the metrics and the everyone's telling you how, and yet no, I'm not supposed to do it that way. I'm supposed to do it like this.
Mm.
Well, follow that, because your
Mm.
soul already knows. It already knows.
Yeah.
It's going to lead you and have that experience. Go ahead,
Mm.
take Jennifer with her question.
Okay, so I am Jennifer Stanley. You're a generator. So with your question of, you'd like to know, if you'd like a little bit of help on how to design your next step. So when you look at your design, now remember, human design is always going to give you a roadmap to understand how you're best designed to use your energy. And being a generator, you've got that life force energy within you 24/7, 365. So the key thing for you is your next best step needs to light you up. It needs to feel satisfying. It needs to come from a place of response to what life is showing you, because that's your strategy. So the human design, you have your type, you have your strategy, you have the way that you're best designed to make decisions. You have the way the energy flows in your body. You've got the conditioning. For you, it's understanding, or for each of us actually, it's understanding that we've got an energy, we've got a strategy that relates to the energy, that shows us how to use that energy. So for you as a generator, you're naturally magnetic because of that life force energy. Now, we're all manifesting beings. Remember, we're all attracting. So we're never repelling. We don't repel. If you think that you aren't getting what you want and you're kind of repelling everything that you actually want, the truth is what you're attracting is your frequency, right? So if you're in a low level of frequency, then you're going to attract that, right? So because you are naturally magnetic as a generator with that life force energy, what the next step that you need to take, or that you should be taking, should light you up, should feel like a kid in a candy store. It should be this gut visceral response. It should be an intuitive knowing that this is my next best step. For generators, and especially because your inner authority is sacral, there is no maybe. A maybe is not, or there is a maybe, but a maybe is not a yes. Let me put it that way. So when you're getting not too sure about this, that's not a yes. That's a no or a not right now. So a maybe is never a yes. So for any sacral inner authority, generators or manifesting generators, because those are the only two types that can have that sacral inner authority because of that defined sacral center. When you are wanting to make a decision on should I go here or should I go here, check in with your body to see where is the energy pulling me towards. So you already know your steps, right? You're not knowing of those steps. I mean, James was speaking about it. Your soul knows. We were speaking about it. Just by you not knowing, by you knowing what you don't want, you already know what you do want, right? So you know you have all these options of where you can kind of move forward, or what steps you can kind of take. So what your next 10 steps look like. For you, it's asking yourself, is my energy in this? Do I feel satisfied doing this? Do I actually want to do this? Do I want to connect with this person? Do I want to start a relationship with that person? Do I feel happy right now in this situation? Kind of check in, ask yourself, yes, no questions and options, very important to get yourself out of your head and back into your body, but kind of check in with that energy. So it's really like your next best steps need to be ones that are satisfying, ones that light you up, ones that make you feel like a kid in a candy store, ones that kind of want to get you off your seat and want you to jump around with so much excitement. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So that feeling of kid in a candy store, that is going to be the feeling that you need to have in order to know that this is the next step that I need to take. And if you don't get that feeling yet, trust and know that that feeling will come when life starts giving you options. Because remember, your strategy is responding to life. You're naturally magnetic, which means opportunities, experiences, circumstances, things that you're wanting are coming towards you, and all you're doing is responding to it. Responding to, oh, that was a nice invitation that this collaboration came about. Do I feel like collaborating with this person right now? Yes, I actually do. Kid in a candy store. Oh, I'm really excited. My body feels energized. Intuitively, I know. Versus, I'm not sure right now. Okay, that's a not right now, or that's a no. So I'm going to check in a little bit later, or I'm going to go down the list and then figure out exactly what that looks like. Remember as well with the 4-6, the 6 is our role model energy. So you've got to go through the experiences. So don't get tripped up that with that fear of not being perfect, because I can see in your chart as well, it's like you have a lot of perfection energy, like correction energy. It gives you the strength and the power to know how to fix things, to make things beautiful so that people can get more enjoyment out of life. But what happens sometimes, the shadow, is to internalize it. So you procrastinate, or you kind of have that what is that like self-sabotaging thing of not feeling good enough as well. It's imposter syndrome, or I don't know enough yet, or it's not perfect yet, so I can't take those steps, right? That's your mind trying to keep you safe, and the fears that are coming up. Your body is going to get you excited. Your body's going to feel like butterflies. Your body's going to feel like kid in a candy store, goosebumps, like I want to do this. Trust that is the direction that you're designed to go, versus your mind trying to trip you up, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Just to narrow it down again, remember, trust your gut response, trust your energy. It needs to feel like a kid in a candy store. It needs to feel like satisfaction. If you're feeling any frustration, there's key in that. There's a key kind of thing or trigger within that either you're trying to force yourself based on someone else's idea, or based on a condition that you may be needing to still work through, versus, hang on, I really feel excited about this. Maybe it seems a bit abstract, but I really do feel like this is, like, I feel, not I think, I feel this is my next step. Go with that, okay? Because life is you're naturally magnetic. You're naturally attracting the things. So you don't have to look far. All you have to do is feel satisfied, and you're going to get these things coming to you, and then you can respond. Oh, yes, I want that. Oh, no, that doesn't fit with me right now. Oh, yes, I want that. Okay, that's your energy. Let me know if that resonates with you.
And Jaclyn, there's a piece, so this is a message for everyone, not specific to Jennifer, but it plays in, is this piece of, again, remember that fear is your friend. Fear is simply energy. Everything is energy. And so use the force of fear as a catalyst, because it's either going to propel you forward or it's going to immobilize you. It's going to hold you where you are. And 9 times out of 10, and maybe 10 out of 10, and by the way, earlier, Jaclyn, we looked up at the clock and it was 10:10, and here we were talking about those double numbers, this boom, double boom, and an extra. The point here, though, is what the universe has on offer for us is double tens, double rainbows, and more. It's like it's already planned. It's already a part of us. We already chose it. It's a part of us. The only thing that's going to keep you from moving into the new you, into rising to align with you, your higher octave self, your soul source self, is fear. It's always going to be, it's going to be a lack, a negative aspect. And so instead of allowing that to control, minimize, immobilize, any of those things, look at fear, make peace with fear. Say hello to fear. Hey, how are you? I see you. You don't need to ignore it. You don't need to run from it. Just say, yep, I see you. And my soul knows to go this way. And we're going to do that. And you can say to your personality, your mind, your ego, it's okay. It's okay. I know you're there to protect me. I know you're worried. I know you're afraid. I know you're scared. But it's okay. Because guess what? Spirit, Source, Symphony, the unseen, the all of above, they have so much more for us than we could possibly dream up. So let's just go conquer it. Let's go do it. Let's go count to 7 and climb that hill.
Keep your mind busy, count to 7.
Well, it's true, right? Because as you said, I thought of nothing else. Anything that might have infiltrated Jaclyn's mind at that point of the hill's too big, or I'm too tired, or I haven't done this in a while, or 1001, 1001. There's the 1001 nights, and you let go of all of that to have the experience that said, "Oh, I manifested this. I've already climbed this mountain, and I'm just realigning with that experience." And once you were done, you're like, "Yeah, yes." So in this 2022 and beyond, make peace with yourself. Make peace with fear. Fear is your friend. It is not your enemy. It's just how you're choosing to interact with fear. You could say the same about love. Love can be pure. It can be the most blissful, pure, beautiful thing. Or we have seen, many examples of how love destroys. Love, you can see the negative aspect. It's energy.